Good morning. Well, maybe it's not morning for you. It's morning for me, and I'm headed to the gym. But I just thought today we should talk about something. It's that time of year. It's the time of year when the temperatures start rising, especially here in this area. We're not done with spring. We're not done with the rain and the cold weather, but the days are coming where it's hot enough that you cannot take the babies safely in the car. So let's talk about, in California specifically, and those of you that have states where you can bust open a window to save a dog or an animal or a child, let's talk about that. Now, I'm gonna have some surprising advice for you, considering who I am and how I care about the babies more than they're humans. Sorry, people. And that's, I encourage you to consider not busting the window open. And let me explain what I mean. I don't want you to not bust it open ever. I want you to know that you can. I want you to know that there's a law that's meant to protect you so that you can do that. However, we are also in a world where people are litigious and there's always circumstances, and with the most expensive attorney, you can kind of spin and twist, and you might find yourself in a liability issue where your compassion for that animal is costing you money that you can't afford. So we want to avoid that. We don't want to wreck your life because you did something good for an animal. And the bottom line is, the courts, we have a California law, and yet, we're notorious for not standing by our laws. So here's what I suggest. When and if you come upon an animal in a car that either doesn't have the windows rolled down or they're cracked so slightly we know that the temperature in that car is too hot, here's what you do. Turn on your phone and start videoing. Definitely take some some individual shots, some actual photos, and then continue with the camera rolling. What you're going to be filming for specifically is, I want you to film the dog itself. It might be another animal, but it's usually a dog, so let's talk about dogs. I want you to look at the tongue. Is the tongue out? Are they panting? Is the tip of the tongue wider than the earlier part, like the bit closer to the mouth? Because we call it a ladle tongue. It becomes this big ladle and the tongue swells up. So you want to take a video of that. You want to take a picture of that. I want you to get a picture that includes maybe another phone if you have access to it, something that shows you the time of day. Because if you can take a picture when you first notice the animal and when you first have the time, then you can hang out by that car and you can show, I'm in this parking lot for XYZ amount of time, so that if it becomes a thing where you're punching out the window, you've got proof that you were out there for a reasonable amount of time. And by reasonable, I mean a long time, longer than you think, longer than you want that baby to suffer. And yet we can see they're clearly hot, they're clearly too hot, but they're not dying yet. At the time that you are taking that first picture, you are calling 911. You're getting the authorities over there. In most cases, they will respond quickly enough. If the animal has already been in there an extended period of time, that might not work out. So that's why we have the ability to bust open the windows on these things. Now, if you carry one of these kind of tools in your car, it's one of those things where you just punch the window with it, you push a little button, it's going to shatter the window. It's a great tool. It's going to keep you safe while you're doing it. It's going to keep the animal safer while you're doing it. So it's a handy little tool, but I just want to warn you, please, please, please hear me. Do not go crazy with this thing busting out windows, or you will be buying people new windows. You will not only be buying people new windows, you're probably going to pay for their time they had to go get the window. You're going to pay for court costs. You're going to pay for all this stuff, even though we have a law allowing us to do this. So please, yes, be a good citizen. Call the authorities. Take a picture. Take a video. Note the time in that video so that you have evidence that here's when I got here. And who knows how long the animal's been in the car before you, but that tongue sticking out, that sign of distress, the color of the animal, whether or not they're still running around frantically or whether they're collapsed. These are things, we don't want the animals to suffer, but I also want to protect you too. The authorities will usually get there in time if we do our part. Please do not be randomly punching out people's windows. Now, if it is time to punch out people's windows, you've got the ammunition you need to protect yourself so that your life doesn't get ruined because you just saved an animal's life, okay? So there it is. There's my tip for the day. Even though we have that protection, please do not run around punching out windows. It will come back to haunt you. They will take away this wonderful protection we have if we don't use it wisely. If you're at all worried in the moment, it can be okay to get on the phone with an emergency veterinary clinic and describe to them, maybe even FaceTime with them if they have somebody that's willing to do that with you, to show them through video chat, here's the animal, how worried do I have to be? Can I wait 2 minutes? Can I wait 5 minutes? You know, or we don't know, we can wait 2 minutes right now, and 2 minutes, let's reassess. And that way we can protect ourselves as well as the babies. Have a wonderful day. Do not take those kids out in the super, super high heat, and have a wonderful summer.